What's up guys, it's Mega giving you another deck for Link Evolution. I decided to give you guys a Traptrix deck just because we did it on stream, so it's kind of like I might as well do a video for it, because then obviously it's what we all come together, and it's actually a very nice control based deck. So this deck's a Traptrix deck. It's my opinion at the end of the day. It's completely cool. If you disagree with any of the cards that I've shown in the video later, I say Traptrix is all about control, keeping your opponent from basically doing anything, like shutting them down from summoning, from trying to go into the extra deck. Just shut deck. It does a lot of things, and things, and it's just very like fun deck to play, kind of like the old hat deck back in the day on Legacy. Yeah, this is the different version of that, just without the hand cards really. If you're struggling to make this deck or any deck shown so far, I highly recommend you check out the card hub. And if you tell you what cards in this game or not, I'll tell you where to find it, such as campaign, challenge mode, or even a card pack. It does include the new cards that were added via the update a couple of weeks ago. That is in the description down below, along with my Twitch, where I do try and stream Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution as best I can, and other games as well that I like to enjoy. And with that, guys, let's get into the video. Starting us off, guys, is 2 copies of Artifact Scythe. The reason we're running the Artifacts cards, guys, is because if you don't know what the old hat deck used to be, which stood for Hand Artifact Traptrix, it just basically shut your opponent from doing stuff from the extra deck, and all the artifact and all the Traptrix cards that prevented your opponent from special summoning from the extra deck, and kind of like did a lot of like trickery. So for instance, when Artifact Scythe is summoned from when Artifact Scythe is summoned during your opponent's turn, your opponent cannot special summon from the extra deck for that turn. Really helps out, stuns your opponent so they can't link, fusion, synchro, exceed, or pendulum. Can't do any of that. If this card is on this card is set and you spend a trap card zone, which you can do from your hand, and it's destroyed, you can special summon it back from the field. Again, if it's died during your opponent's turn, again, you can knock down your opponent's extra deck, which is kind of nice, and it's playable with our trap Artifact Sanctum. But if you want to just set it, we've got cards such as Tornado Dragon, and our Artifact Link, and also that can just pretty much destroy it, so it's really comes in handy. And also a Heavy Storm Duster can destroy it as well. 3 copies of Traptrix. Is it Dianella? She's one of the best Traptrix guys, because when she is normal summoned, you get to target a Traptrix in your graveyard, special summon it in defense mode, so it's great to go into Link 2 plays, if not rank 4 plays. Also, if this card is special summoned, you can target 1 whole normal trap in our graveyard and reset it, but it is banished during your next end phase, so please be aware about that. But it's great just to recycle your traps in your graveyard and just be able to stop your opponent during their turn. And all the Traptrix guys do have an effect where they're unaffected by the effect of whole trap cards, so that comes in handy. 3 copies of Traptrix Mantis. When this card is normal summoned, you get to add a Traptrix monster from your deck to hand. Great for searching out Mamalo or Diana. You can target, this card does have a quick effect where you can target 1 set spell or trap you control, return it to the hand, and you can set a different set spell or trap from your hand. Absolute great, because should your opponent like play MST or something, or a way to get around your back row, you can just play Mantis, bounce it back to your hand. That way it gets around the effect. Then you could just reset it, because again that target's gone. Gets around little pesky cards. Going on to one of the other good ones, is Traptrix Mamalo, one of the best ones. If this card is normal summoned, you get to add a whole normal trap from your deck to your hand. Great for searching out floodgates or time space. And also, if this card is special summoned, you can target 1 set spell or trap your opponent controls and destroy it. Great for special summoning from the deck or from your from the graveyard by Diana's effect. Absolute great. Just pop your opponent's back row, stops them from doing anything. And then 1 copy of Traptrix Nepenthes. She's not one of the best ones, guys. You just run her because you need another Traptrix, because this deck is all about bringing out Traptrix Sarah as quickly as you can, which does require 1 Traptrix monster, so it's just great to get in an extra monster. If you activate a normal whole card on the field while this card is in play, you basically get special a Traptrix monster from your deck. So she's kind of handy, but again, you're just mainly going to play her just to go into a link play with. And then 2 copies of Pot of Desires. The reason we're running Desires, guys, is just to help us draw those 2 cards. They could mean the difference between losing a duel and winning. That's why we're kind of running like 2 to 3 of near enough every single card we have, because then if you do banish it with Desires, at least you've then got another copy, hopefully, in your deck. And these are the only spells we run, so the cards such as Imperial Order does not really affect us one little bit. Then going on to the traps, we are running quite a bit. We are running 3 copies of Artifact Sanctum, just so we can get access to Scythe, because that's pretty much what we want to do. It's a normal trap, so it works well with Traptrix Sarah, and should your opponent destroy this card by a card effect, you get to target one card your opponent controls and destroy it. So that really comes in handy, such as your opponent tries to get around your gets around your cards. The only downside is you don't want to play this card during your turn because it does lock you out of your battle phase for the turn, so please bear that in mind. But really going to play it during your opponent's turn, because then you can bring out Scythe. The only artifact we're running, just shut down your opponent's extra deck. 3 copies of Compulse. Basically, guys, this one card, you target one card on the field, bounce it back to the hand. Again, normal trap, Traptrix Sarah, absolutely great, and also it's searchable with Traptrick. Running free, because if your opponent tries to do anything such as bring out a monster so they go into link plays, or bring out a monster from the extra deck, just bounce it back, get rid of it, you don't want to see it, and again, you just control on the field. 3 copies of Floodgate Trap Hole. Because it has the word hole in its name, it's searchable with our Traptrixes such as Memello, and also it's good for the Traptrix Xyz monster. When your opponent would summon a monster, you get to change it to face down defense mode, and because you're changing it to face down, they cannot use it for Xyz summoning, they can't use it for synchro summoning, they can't not use it for link summoning. It really shuts down a couple of the fusion, a couple of the summoning methods, because obviously they need to be face up in order for it to do it, and it just really comes in handy to kind of like stun your opponent for a couple of turns. And then running 2 copies of Heavy Storm Duster. It's basically a trap version of Twin Twister. The reason why we're running it, guys, instead of Twin Twister is because it's a trap card, so that means and a normal trap at that, so it means to search for a Traptrick, and it works better with Traptrix Sarah. And then we're running 1 copy of Imperial Orders. I know you might be thinking, why am I running like this and some other solemn cards? But that's because we kind of need some other than just normal traps. Imperial Order is fantastic because it negates all spell cards on the field. The only spells we are running is 2 copies of Desires, and you can near enough play this deck without the Desires. I just like it just for draw cards, so you can play this, shut down every single spell, even if you go up against decks that run decks like Secret Verger Spellcasters. Again, it's not going to impact you one little bit, because you're basically running traps and monster effects. And then 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. It's like a Feta Veiler, guys, but in trap form, so that's really handy. It is kind of classed as a hand trap, because you can play it during because you can play it from your hand if you control no cards. Kind of great for turn 1. If this card is set face down and you activate it, all cards in that column have their effects negated. Really comes in handy, and again just shuts down monster effects. Again, normal trap, searchable Traptrick, and for Traptrix Sarah. 3 copies of Solemn Judgment is a counter trap, guy, so you can't search this with Traptrick, or Traptrix Sarah doesn't really activate with this card. But the reason why we're running Judgment is because you pay half your life points, you negate a spell, trap, or monster summon. Really comes in handy when your opponent is going aggressive, or especially when you're going, especially when it's like you've gone first, you've done your board, then your opponent, I don't know, plays Lightning Storm, try and destroy all your cards, or tries to go into like a spell or trap to search or anything like that. Display Solemn Judgment, negate it, you don't want to see it. And also, like I say, because it's a trap, Imperial Order does not affect us. Then 3 copies of the Phantom Knight of Shade. Is it Brindinge? This is one of the best traps. You'll really want to see this, guys, and a Traptrick turn 1, because if you do, you can set up a incredible board with just 2 cards. Because when this card is set, and you control and you have no traps in your graveyard, you can activate this turn. You can activate this card the turn you set it, which are kind of great. It's classed as a level 4 monster. So what you do is summon one of your Traptricks, link them away into Sarah, you set this card, then you activate it. Because you've activated a normal trap, because it is one, Sarah's ability will activate, then you special summon a Traptrix monster, then you just rank them up into the Traptrix Xyz, and you've got a fantastic board with just them 2 cards, and then you can just set whatever cards left in your hand and just go from there. Really good, good combo. 2 copies of Time Space Trap Hole. Now the reason why I'm running Time Space is because, again, the trap that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Hold Bar the Grave, is not in the game. So I decided to run this, and you might be thinking, well, about bottomless and everything, but a few cards like to be banished, while with time space, should your opponent special a monster from the hand or from the extra deck, you bounce it back into the deck. Yes, you lose 1,000 points for every card returned, but it really comes in handy should your opponent, I know, try something like, for instance, you're going up against Light Swarm, summon Judgment Dragon, bounce back into the deck. You're going up against, I know, try and bring out Chaos Max, they try to link summon into, I don't know, what's a good link, like Bowl Sword or anything like that. Bounce it back into the decks. You don't want to see them. That way they've lost all the resources. And because it's a trap hole, it is searchable with our Traptrix monster and with the Traptrix XCs. And also it's and also you can use it with Traptrix. And speaking of Traptrix, 3 copies of this bad boy. Basically, this card is basically a Traptrix monster, just that it doesn't have the word Traptrix. It's Traptrix. So you banish 1 normal trap from your deck, and you get to set another copy of that card. You can use it the turn you set it, so that's really handy. So basically, you play this, and for instance, depends what's happening. For instance, if you've got a Sanctum set, you don't really want to play another Sanctum because obviously you've already got one. If you want, if you're going up against like a Pendulum deck or a very heavy back row deck, you're going to set the heavy Storm Duster. Your opponent's playing like a deck with a lot of monster effects. You'll set the Infinite Permanence or the Compulse. You see what I mean? You've got many combos. It all depends what's going off. Then you just use Traptrix to just adjust to it. And that's all for the deck, guys. Going on for the extra deck, we are running Abyss Dweller. I would argue this is the best XCs in the entire game because basically during our player's turn, quick effect, you can detach 1 XCs material. Your opponent cannot activate any card effects in the graveyard. Really comes in handy. Especially because a lot of decks that rely on the graveyard, Salamon Grey, Shadows. I could go on forever at this rate. Like even Dark Magicians, they have that Soul Servant card that activates in the grave. Abyss Dweller will shut it down. Really great to go into. I decided to run Cascal because I didn't have the new rank for Traptrix. It's not in the game. You don't really want to go into this card as much. I just run it just because why not? You don't have to run these cards in the extra deck because the main one you want Sarah, but it is great to go into because you can target 1 face-up card on the field, bouncing back to the deck. It's like a Compulse in monster form, can come in handy. 1 copy of Gagaga Cowboy. The reason I'm running Cowboy, guys, is because it's a great rank 4 to go into because you can just target your opponent's target. You can just burn your opponent for 800 damage. So as long as you get your opponent to around about there, you're going to win just flat out from Cowboy. We are running Utopia. I did try out Utopia Double, but I decided to not run it. I decided Desires was a better card than Double or Nothing, just because it's the one thing this deck struggles with is kind of consistency and draw power, especially if your opponent gets rid of your back rows or gets rid of your monsters, such as Sarah, if they kaiju her. The one thing you lack is a lot of like comeback play, so Desires kind of made it a little bit easier. So I decided to take out Double or Nothing and Utopia Double, but I still decided to keep Utopia because we can rank it up to go into Utopia the Lightning, which pretty much when this card attacks another monster, you can attach 2 Xyz materials. This card's attack points become 5,000, which is a very nice effect. Also, if this card battles, your opponent cannot activate spell or traps or monster effects until the end of the battle. So no matter what, this attack is going to go through, and it can get over big monsters such as Chaos Max, can get over it. Really comes in handy. One of the best rank 4s in this deck, Time Thief Redor. During the standby phase of both players' turns, you can attach the top card of your opponent's deck to this card. Really comes in handy, especially if your opponent, such as using cards like Soul Servant, to put the top card of their deck to be like Magician Souls or Dark Magician. Rhydon can steal that monster's, can steal that effect, or sorry, can steal that card so they can't play it. It has a quick effect where you can detach up to 3 cards, so up to 3 materials from this card. It doesn't have to be 3, you could use 1 or 2, depending. And this card has a few effects depending on which one. So if you sent a monster, you banish this card into the end phase. Kind of great if you're going to get around, should your opponent play Lightning Storm or play any effect like that targets this card, that means it gets out of the way. If you send a spell card to the grave, you get to draw a card. And if it's a trap card, you can place 1 face-up card your opponent controls on the top of the deck. Really comes in handy, especially during an extra deck card. It's actually a really good one to go into, guys, if you've already got your Tornado Dragon or Refstelia on the field. Speaking of which, 1 copy of Tornado Dragon. Quick effect, guys, you can target 1 So you can attach one exceeds material and then target a spell trap on the field. Destroy. It's like an MST in monster form. Really great to go into. It can really help out your opponents, and also you can, because you can destroy one spell trap you control as well. If you have a Scythe set, you can play Tornado Dragon during your opponent's turn. Pop your Scythe. The Scythe's fair will activate. Shut your opponent from the extra deck. Comes in really handy. One copy of Traptrix Refacia, one of the best ranks in this game, guys, or in this deck, because this card's unaffected by trap effects as long as you have a Traptrix material, which is obviously you're going to have. This card cannot, all Traptrix you control cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects, and so your opponent cannot target monsters with card effects except this card. So your Traptrix are 100% protected if you have this card. That's kind of why you run it with Sarah, because Sarah only has 800 attack points, and so then it pretty much makes it so, yeah, she has low attack, but your opponent can't destroy her. Once per turn, quick effect, you can detach one exceeds material from this card, send one whole trap card that you meet the requirements of, send it to the graveyard, and then her ability basically becomes that trap. So your opponent summons a monster, you can send one floodgate from your deck to the grave, then your monster will be then flipped face down, because that's what Floodgate's ability is. Really comes in handy shutting down your opponent, and it was one of the great ranks to go into, especially in the beginning of the game. One copy of Artifact Dagda. Two monsters with different names. The reason why you want to play this card is because when a monster or a card effect on the field is activated, you can set an artifact from your deck, from your hand or deck, to spell Trap Card Zone, which does come in handy. But you don't really want to destroy it during the end of your opponent's turn, because obviously Scythe only activates, because Scythe, you don't really want to shut down your opponent during their end phase because it'd be useless. But if this Link summon card is destroyed, you can special summon an artifact monster from your graveyard. So that's the reason why you run this card, is because it takes your Scythe from the grave and resummon it back to the field. One copy of Bowl Sword, it just helps with OTKs, guys, shuts down your opponent, really comes in handy. You can target one face-up monster on the field, change it to defense mode. Borrowsword can attack twice during that turn. You can even do that during your opponent's turn. If Borrowsword attacks opponent's monster, it gains half that monster attack, and then that monster loses half its attack. So this card gets over Chaos Max like this. You play this against Chaos Max player, they'll instantly leave. Running one copy of Nightmare Phoenix and one Nightmare Unicorn. Running the Phoenix because if this card is link summoned, you can discard one card and target one spell trap your opponent controls, destroy it. Comes in great against that back row, and that's the main reason why you run it, just for extra back row removal. And for Nightmare Unicorn, kind of the same, but it acts as a compulse. When you discard a card instead of destroying a spell or trap, you just basically bounce one of your opponent's monsters or cards back into the deck. Comes in handy. And finally, free Traptrix Sarah. You really want to get this card out as quickly as you can. She is the heart and soul of the deck. Kind of hurts when she gets kaiju'd, or if you're going up against a Cyber Dragon player and they obviously use her for fusion material. But you really want to have Sarah as best you can. Basically, there's a couple of effects, guys. Like when a normal trap card is activated, you can special summon a Traptrix from your deck. From your deck. That's why you're really going to play here, because again, if your opponent's got back row and you activated any one of your normal traps, for instance you play Sanctum, shut down your opponent from the next deck, you can then summon like my Mellow will pop your opponent's back row. If you've got a trap hole in the graveyard, you'll special summon Diana. She'll bring back the trap, set it back on your field. And she has another effect, guys, that if a Traptrix monster activates its effect, you can set one trap hole from your deck to the field. So it really comes in handy. One of the best cards. Like again, you're only running 5 targets, which is the Floodgate and the Time Space, but those 2 cards I find are like the best trap holes, because it just shuts down your opponent and really comes in handy. And that's it for the deck, guys. I do hope you enjoyed it. It is a really fun deck. It's like, yes, you might think it's not as good as like Guru Control or Altergeist, but during the replays, guys, we did go up against an Altergeist. Really was a fun duel. Seeing 2 control decks battling it out, it was really basically who blinks first lost, pretty much. Really great duel. That's coming up, guys, and if you enjoyed this deck, hit that thumbs up. Really helps the channel grow, and I get to see if you enjoy this deck or not. Once again, guys, I'm only making this video because we made this deck on stream, and I really wanted to show you what this deck was capable of. So yeah, I will be doing requests again, guys. I am kind of busy, but I will try my best to do as many requests as I can. I'm not forgetting about anyone, so please bear with me on that. And with that, guys, wherever you are in the world, please stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next deck video. Bye bye.
くしてた逃げないよこれからはもう一度あの空へ上げても壊してまた作って何百回も上げね投げでも負けるたびに乗れすぎてた認められたくて空回って強がり見せたところでそれじゃ自分が嬉しくなるだけじゃない行こうか It's time to wake up 目を覚ますな強さはメイク Forget the fear and doubt You gotta burn it upがバチかさアンスもフラッシュかしちゃダメなって壊せ Fight for yourself 目をそらすと Fly again 弱さだって君の強さと教えてくれたから僕はまた立ち